everyone. Welcome to some tack talk with Alicia. Today we're going to be talking about scoop boots, and I just want to give you an overview of the pros and cons. I've been using mine for maybe 8 months or so, and just to kind of give you a little bit more information so you're more prepared before you purchase or try some out. So when you make a purchase, your standard kind of kit is going to be 2 boots in a kit, okay? And these happen to be ones that I use on my horse's hind feet, but there's no fronts and rears, there's just different sizes. With the basic kit, you're not going to get any of these extra items right here, but I'm going to show you those because, you know, of course I had to buy every little thing to make these fit my horse. So I've got all the extra products that you can get. So you're going to, it comes in a pair, you get 2. They're going to have what are called trail gaiters. These are just little pieces of foam fabric that are going to go over the back of the boot like this. And these are intended to only be for during the initial break-in kind of process to help prevent any rubs. So it straps on like so and kind of looks like this from this side. And the only downside to these I've noticed is because of the Velcro, they can get like little weeds or whatever in them, so you might have to actually put a couple pieces of tape on here to hold those on. But those are called trail gaiters, and they're just like a small piece of fabric, and the intention from scoop boots is that these come off at some point once this part kind of breaks in a little bit and is a little softer and looser. Really important to watch for rubs when you first start using these, because this is a pretty rigid kind of plastic material. Anyway, I digress. Let's go back to telling you what all the different stuff and things are. So these are just simply the front straps. These are pastern straps, and I'll show you what you get in the bag here as far as extras as well. And you do get hardware that you can replace these little hardware pieces with. But you see the actual boots themselves are not Velcro, and there's no like metal cable wires like some hoof boots that you have to do. This is the tread on the bottom. These are obviously lightly used, so they're a little bit dirty. To find the sizing, it's going to be stamped up inside here. These are a 2. And they're actually a slim, which just means that they're about 10 millimeters narrower than regular ones. And a lot of times on like the hind foot, I have off the track thoroughbred, and his little hind feet are just a little naturally narrower than his fronts. So these are slims. He's got 2 slims. So they're gonna come in a bag like this, and it's gonna have the size on it. And it is mesh on the back side, so that's nice. You can store everything in the bag, and then the dirt will just kind of fall out. So you get a storage bag with the basic package, the trail gaiters for each boot, and then you get a bag with a few extra. So it comes with 2 extra pastern straps, which you will inevitably need one of these at some point because, you know, one of these might come off, rip, break. You can get these in different colors, which is kind of fun. Like you can customize the color of the front straps and the pastern straps. And then you also get, besides this nice little manual, you get a couple extra front straps, which honestly I feel like they should give you 4 because it comes with 4 total, but you know, whatever. And then you do get the little baggie with extra hardware should you need it. I do recommend once you kind of get going to use a Loctite on these to keep them from coming unscrewed. When I had one of my first couple rides, I actually had one of these come unscrewed. But if you tighten them with Loctite here, you shouldn't have as much issue with that. And I think mainly that's because, you know, he wears these on the rear and kind of interferes a little bit sometimes, and so things will just kind of tend to rub. So that's what you'll get with the initial package. And I'll start showing you some of the accessory items that you can also get. So you've got your boots, you've got all your little supplies, but But what happens when you're like me and the boots don't fit your horse right away and you've worked with a rep and they send you all these different size shells to try, which by shells you can get a rep, I use Timberline Tack, to send you a boot without all these straps on it, and it's just a way to be sized, which is really nice because they'll mail you the sizing shells, and then you can work with a rep online by sending them videos of your horse wearing the sizing shells, and that'll kind of help you get to a point where you know what size to actually purchase in the boot itself. My struggle is that I have a very low-heeled thoroughbred, and one of his hind feet, the heels are kind of different heights, so like his foot doesn't come up high enough in here. So the first thing that I tried was, one of the accessories you can get is hoof wedges. They make these in a flat, and then I also believe they make them in an angled wedge now. But these are just pads, and they go in like so. So it slips in, and basically you're just taking up a little extra space on the bottom here to help bring the whole foot itself up. So that is the pad. I actually didn't end up using these because I realized they just didn't help with the fit, so I've got those. And then another item that I got are the Shims, anti-slip Shims. And what size you get just depends on what size boots you have as far as these accessories for the most part. The Shims were okay because I was trying them on a larger size boot. The only negative side is, let me show you how the shim goes in the boot. So you slip it in front, and it actually is held in by these little openings in the front, which is one of the drainage holes for the boot to kind of help water and sand and stuff go out of. But the negative to that, let me make sure we're on camera, is that there's these little tabs that are going to be sticking out now in the front, and my horse drags his hind feet. So I feel like after a while these little nubbins get kind of worn off and can kind of make it so that these don't stay put very well. For reference, like that's the tab that's still kind of existent a little bit, but my horse drags his feet. Luckily I didn't end up having to keep using these, but again, it's a way to take up space in the front here if you don't have the like perfect fit. Ideally, like, you're just able to get a boot that fits right, but because horses' feet are so different and they're changing, like for me, I went from shod hind feet to a transition to barefoot. Your horse's hooves are going to change shape and change size, you know, if you're going from shod to barefoot especially. So these accessories were kind of part of me having to deal with that. So another one is the endurance gaiters. I got the size small because I'm using a size slim hoof boot, but the endurance gaiters are what I actually currently use if I need to go trail riding somewhere rocky and he doesn't have hind shoes on. I use the endurance gaiters. So before you put them on the horse, you just slip them in. So it's kind of like this little hoof pad that I had. So it slips into the bottom, and then you have to open this up. I keep it closed to try to help keep little burrs and stuff out of here, but that's just happens when I'm riding. So the endurance gaiter slips in like this, and I really think that they could improve the design of these a little bit. It's kind of like a high top sock type thing, but my horse got rubs kind of in these areas under the hardware, and this was the only thing that I found that worked, was using the endurance gaiters. And it takes up enough room because of all the padding that I don't have to use like the shims and stuff. So you keep it on like this, and then I just shove his little foot in here and do up the little Velcro strap, and then you can do up your 2 front straps and your pastern strap. The design flaw I think they could work on is that I think it could come just a little bit farther in, because you have to get this so perfectly centered, otherwise you'll get like a chunk of it kind of sticking out like that instead of coming in and perfectly covering. But otherwise I like them. Like I said, I use these on the hind feet so I can have some interference problems with like the Velcro and whatnot. So I try to keep those going opposite directions. And second to last accessory item was EVA tape, which is just a tape. You don't have to buy it from Scoop Boots necessarily, but it's a foam padded tape. And I had initially, instead of doing the endurance gaiters, cut off pieces of this foam tape and basically wrapped it around these areas that were rubbing. And I didn't really find that I liked that very much. You use like another waterproof tape to go over it, and it just was too bulky back here. But some people have really found that they like that. Like I said, ideally you're just gonna go and be able to eventually ride with just this boot as it is, right? Nothing extra. But you know, especially in the break-in period, you can have rubs on your horse, which you really don't want. So there's just all these different ways to kind of try to figure out how to best prevent that. And then the last accessory item are the mud straps. Okay, so they come on, they attach on the front like this, and they go over the side of the horse's little foot. These are just fussy as all get out to me. They're supposed to help prevent your horse's hoof, or excuse me, the boot from coming off, like in sucking mud or water or whatnot. You would definitely need to size up with these if you're gonna also use the endurance gaiter because of the padding. And then when I got them, I also bought these little sleeves, plastic sleeves, because I was like, these things are gonna rub my horse. So then you also have to buy these stinking little sleeves. I'm a little like, I'm not a fan of the mud straps, but again, you don't wanna lose a $100 boot on the trail. So, you know, I bought these. I honestly haven't even used them. I put them on once, but how they would go on is before you put your hoof boot on your horse, you have to run them up through the back, which to me is another thing that could cause rubs because it goes like this. And then now you have another, so actually when you use the mud straps, you take off the pastern strap because it's kind of redundant. So then you have this situation back here, like that. So then you slide your, you know, you leave it up, you slide your horse's foot in, and then that's when you can bring it down and attach it to the bottom front strap or the top. You can, I think they recommend doing the bottom because then you cover this one like that. So while it's on your horse, you have to hold all this still, and then you have to shove this thing through here. I don't know. I think they could definitely do better as far as the design on these. But again, it could just be that I'm not used to them yet. But I feel that it's a little, sorry, I think I'm hitting the camera. It's a little fussy. So I'm just getting it in there, and then it's like that. So that's the mud straps, and it's your horse's foot's going down through there. But like I said, I was worried about rubs here, so you have the little tubing, which then is another thing that you have to put on. I don't know. I just found that to be a little over the top. But again, you know, if you're really going to town wearing these a lot, you don't really want to lose them, so you got to make that work for you. So that's the accessories. As far as my overall impression, these are the boots. Scoop boots are the hoof boot of choice for me because I live in a really, really hot climate, and I did not want to use the ones that are kind of more like, if you think of a person's like tennis shoe, you know, I didn't want a more traditional, like covering the whole foot and coming up with like all this fabric or cables or whatever. So I chose these because they're the least amount of material on the foot. And then they have all this room for drainage of water and sand and whatnot. And I haven't really had any issue with traction, and these are barely worn, so they're not even really worn down that much. I've had a few little like pebbles kind of get stuck in here, but they come out really easily with a hoof pick. And then to put these on and take them off, I highly recommend always carrying a little hoof pick with you, because you can hook the hoof pick into this little hole and then stretch it out over the rivet. That's really the easiest way to put these on and take them off. But overall, I really like them. I mean, the pros are really that, you know, like I said, there's no cables or Velcro. There's good traction. They're a flexible material, so, you know, if your horse steps on a rock or something, you've got good flex to them. You don't feel like they're wearing like a piece of plywood, you know, on their sole. And then you can get different colors of all of these little accessory kind of rubber items. You can get different color of the pastern and the front straps. You can add studs. So if you live in a snowy climate or you like show jump on grass or something, you can add studs to the bottom. And then these can just be an overall really good tool to help you transition from shod to barefoot, just so that, you know, if you want to take them out and ride them in the arena or up and down the road, you've just got some little level of protection while their little feet are really tender. And I would say the cons mostly are in the fitting, okay? Like, it took me so many times of getting different shell sizes sent to me, trying them on, taking videos, and then once I found something that worked like pretty well, I'm still kind of getting all these different things to make it fit, and then just paranoid about blisters. So that's why I got the endurance gaiters, because he did get a blister when I was doing, and of course, you know, in the beginning you only ride in them for a couple minutes or lunge them and work up, but with these little trail gaiters, he did get blisters kind of on the side because these didn't really cover enough. And then another con would be that, you know, not an issue for me because I don't do like endurance riding, but really, like they say, Scoop Boots says that these will last about 600 miles of riding, but it really depends. Like, my horse drags his hind feet a little bit and then interferes, so if you have those issues, you're gonna see your boots wear down a little faster. There is a pretty good market online for buying and selling used ones or parts, or like if you lose one, trying to find, you know, a different one, but they usually run about $100 each, so you really don't want to lose one. But I would say the only other con, like I said, was just having to buy accessory items or replacing parts, which really isn't hard to do. It's just extra money. But I think that's going to be with any type of hoof boot, is you're always going to have to make sure that you, you know, stay on top of the maintenance and repair. Like I said, for these, you'll want to Loctite these little screws, and then you're going to need a screwdriver. And one thing to look out for, like I said, my horse drags his hind feet, so these actually can get worn down to where it's hard to get them out if you have that problem. You know, really, you shouldn't too much, especially on the front feet. But overall, I really like them, and I would totally buy them again. And I do hope to one day take off his front shoes and transition him to 100% barefoot. So if I do that, I'll definitely make some videos on wearing the Scoop Boots all around. And if you guys liked this, please give this video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. And then I also can make a video where I'm actually putting these on, take them to the barn, show how to put on all the different accessories, because that, you know, can be kind of confusing at first. But I can also link to, you know, some reputable people as far as like how to do the EVA tape, or how to heat stretch the heels, which is done with like a heat gun, things like that, just kind of how to help the fit. But yeah, if you guys are interested in me doing any of that stuff, just leave me a comment below. And I hope that you found this video helpful, and just trying to do a little bit different style video where, you know, I don't have the camera on my face, I have it on the wonderful product. So anyway, hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.